Welcome back, and we continue our Mirror Now campaign, asking for justice for Devi, the brutal rape and murder of a 31-year-old postgraduate trainee at Kolkata's RG Medical College and Hospital has continued to leave a nation angry and seeking justice. There is widespread outrage with calls for immediate and severe action against both the accused and responsible authorities within the next 48 hours. The accused, who had falsely posed as a police officer, has shown no remorse when confronted by the authorities. And this case also exposed significant failures at both RG Hospital and the Kolkata police here. But most importantly, as you can see in these protests across the country, it has become more than just that of a singular case in Kolkata here. Doctors and especially medical trainees and students across the country have hit the streets, not only demanding justice for one of their fallen comrades in Kolkata, but are also seeking immediate changes in the legislation, asking for more protection for members of the medical fraternity. And one of them include coming up with a law to ensure the safety. They're supposed to meet the Union Health Minister sometime later on this afternoon. And while that is expected, let us put that question out to some of my representatives and guests joining me at this point. We have been joined once again by Dr. Sanjeev Bagai, Chairperson of Nephron. I'm also being joined by Dr. Aviral Mathur, President of FORDA, which is of course the students' body hitting the ground as well, and I expect to be joined by Dr. Avra Sen, spokesperson of the BJP as well. Dr. Bagai, once again, thank you so much for joining us on Mirror Now. We have been having this conversation for the past 24 hours. It's evident here that this has become a movement. One, that it is a movement, and it's become more than just one case in West Bengal, because at some level, it has resonated with doctors and junior medical staff across the country that their lives are unsafe. They're supposed to dedicate their lives to keeping us safe, but there's no one who protects them and keeps them safe. And which is why there's this widespread anger which has really been channeled in the form of a protest against this particular case.
Good afternoon, and once again, my prayers and condolences and heartfelt thoughts and blessings to the family who has lost this young daughter. And it's not only that family who has lost a daughter, India has lost a daughter. The medical fraternity has lost a daughter. And if this is not a wake-up call, I don't know what is. The Nirbhaya case was bad enough in Delhi, but this is even worse. This is a gruesome, heinous, savage crime which took place in a workplace on a young, unarmed girl. Please remember, doctors are the most vulnerable soft targets. We are at a workplace. We don't expect and anticipate these kind of harms coming to us. We are completely exposed in those areas. The only thing which we have to defend ourselves is a stethoscope. For heaven's sake, this is a brutal killer who comes. He's a murderer. He's a drug addict. He's an alcoholic. He's a sexual perverter, a pervert predator. And there has been no screening done on him. He carries the logo of Calcutta police, and people are allowing him and out to come into the restricted areas with no denying access. This is completely ridiculous. It's bizarre. This is nothing short of a jungle rule over there. And the principal over there, in spite of having no security, no norms, no CCTV, no guarding the lives of the young students, has actually transferred the principal of that college to another college. This is the cruelest joke ever. I mean, someone needs to give some answers. And now you are asking for 7 days in West Bengal, the chief minister there, she should resign. On moral grounds, she should resign. If she can't look after the fate and safety of young women, young doctors at a workplace, she has no right to remain in power. This is not a lifelong legacy which she has. I'm extremely disturbed, and therefore this emotional outburst. This is highly unacceptable on any grounds. Doctors sacrifice their lives. I want the viewers to understand that in COVID, more than 2,000 doctors lost their lives protecting the common citizens of India. More than 900 doctors sacrificed their lives in Delhi alone. We continue to see patients at the peak of the Delta wave when everyone else was locked up home. And this is what the doctors get in return.
Yes, Dr. Bagai, for some of our viewers who may think that you are, I mean, this is an emotional outburst. Let me just put these things and figures in context as you see on your screens. 75%, that means 3 out of 4 people in the medical fraternity, 3 out of 4 doctors have faced violence in India. That's a figure that's much higher than the United States, 47%, almost close to 85% in China. Another survey which had come up by the IMA itself stated that 75%, as we said, of doctors have dealt with violence in the workplace. 63% doctors fear violence when they're seeing patients, and at least 58% doctors are seeking more security at the hospitals here. Let me now bring in also at this point Dr. Avra Sen, and also let me first go into Dr. Avril Mathur as well. Dr. Mathur, it's evident now that this has become a protest much more than demanding just those demanding justice for Devi at this point. But there are also critics who feel that this is now being used as an opportunity to try and put forward every demand under the sun. Some of them are political, some of them are driven by personal vendetta, and there's a fear that this demand for justice will be hijacked into something more in terms of the medical fraternity trying to come up with its own motives. How will you counter that?
So hi, thank you for having me here. As I see on your screen live, what you're projecting is the figure of Mamsi that caught my eye regarding the sad incident and a similar incident which happened in our near our campus back in 2002. So from where I stand, I have done my undergraduation from the same institute. It's been 15 years I have been a part of MAMC, and I see that nothing has changed when it comes to the sentiment for doctors nationally, for their protection. We have braced, as Dr. Bagai just said, the worst of the pandemics, and still nothing seems to have changed in those 22 years that have elapsed since, and also since independence. So what you are saying that the sentiment getting hijacked is something which I would differ as a resident doctor representative, because we have been on strike solely for a colleague who has gone down in such a sad manner, and the fight for justice which is ongoing in her institute and in her state, and of course for the larger fight of having doctors protected under an umbrella of a central law. So if you ask me as a representative of the largest resident doctors association, I feel that for me the sentiments remain clear. For me the focus is clear. For me the demands are clear. And I know, there are efforts to color it political, to color it bad, to color it either way. But for me, as far as our organization is concerned and our fraternity of resident doctors, we are focused, and we will fight for what is right and what we have written in our demands.
Fair enough. Now, Dr. Bagai, it's a question which I've been raising since yesterday at this point. While there is a lot of justified angst against political quarters, whether it be at the state of West Bengal, whether it be at the center as well, my point is, can senior members of the medical fraternity themselves wash their hands off? The principal of the Arjikar Medical College and Hospital is at the end of the day a doctor. But yet he has been coming up with questionable statements over the victim to begin with. Then yesterday he resigned, making a big song and dance, trying to make himself the martyr, saying that he's resigning because he's facing a lot of hate on social media. And then within 12 hours, he's rehabilitated as the principal of another medical college and hospital in Calcutta, which then requires a court intervention to stop it. So clearly, this is also a situation where senior doctors have also gotten co-opted in the same nexus, in the same machinery, in which they've probably started abandoning their own medical brethren, and that's what we are seeing in Calcutta.
My personal views, and I can share this on behalf of almost 99 to 100% of the doctors in India, and I dare say worldwide, is no one should be spared who's guilty. It's a young life who's been lost. Please understand the pain, the agony, the misery, the tears the family goes through to bring a child up to the age of 31, make her finish her MBBS, and she's in second year of post-graduation. This particular gentleman, the doctor who's the medical superintendent, was rehabilitated within 24, 48 hours. And what did he say the first day when he sat in the car? He said, I did everything possible to prevent it. Is this a joke? And then he goes on to say it was in the department, so it became unavoidable. Is he trying to say rape is unavoidable? Murder in a workplace is unavoidable? Death of this nature is unavoidable? I think whoever the person may be, whether he's a doctor or a simple non-clinical administrator, he has no role in healthcare henceforth, period. If he can't administer the place, there is no female security guards apparently. This particular person who's a goon, he's a sexual predator, is running amok all over the hospital at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m. I mean, this is ridiculous. It's a hospital. It's a teaching hospital. There are young patients there. There are young doctors there. There are no rules, regulations followed. There are no protocols being followed. This gentleman does not deserve to be in any administrative or public post at all, period.
Be that as it may, Dr. Avrasen, just stay on with me for a few more seconds because I just want to bring in Dr. Aviral Mathur, President of FODA, on another point as well. Dr. Mathur, in 2020, we came up after the government came up with an ordinance which then became a law and that was passed in both houses of parliament. I'm referring to the Epidemic Diseases Amendment Act, which has a 5 years of maximum jail term for attacking healthcare workers, a 5 lakh fine as a maximum punishment, and also a 2 lakh maximum fine for abetting the cause and causing hurt. Do you still feel, or the rest of FODA still believe that a stronger law is required, or do you feel that the amendment of the existing laws need to be a lot more stricter?
Yeah. So this has been a consistent question, I think, in past as well, when incidents of violence have occurred against doctors of various strata. We feel that the existing laws, if at all they were so robust and they were so nice, things would have taken a different route. Currently, the sentiment against a healthcare worker in India is against, the mentality is sometimes very hostile. And, the current existing laws in place are not able to deter those acts of violence. So what we feel right now is that there should be a separate law and an ordinance or maybe an act, which can have an umbrella cover for all the healthcare workers. With its own specified modus operandi for punishments and fines and, how to make it bailable or non-bailable under what circumstances. There have been different drafts, as you rightly said, it wasn't tabled. So what our demand to the ministry this time is that we want the ratification of those laws. We want whatever has been prepared to be, relooked at, to be redrafted if at all needed in some areas, and then to be ratified. So we want a committee. That is what our demand in our letter is. And of course, since, resident doctors mostly,
Okay.
I think all my senior colleagues here would agree, that resident doctors mainly face the brunt of this violence more often than not. Any act of violence, I'm not saying that only the resident doctors face it, but more often than not, they're the frontline warriors facing it every day. So I think, it is high time that a resident doctor organization such as ours is a representative and a part of that committee. That is what our demand also is. So we hope that, negotiations will reoccur.
Okay.
And, demands as we have laid out in our letters and press releases until now will be addressed. And, we can then collectively take a decision how to go forward.
Okay, Dr. Avrasen, I come to you. And in your capacity as a spokesperson of the opposition party in the state of Bengal, a representative of the ruling party in at the center, as well as a doctor yourself. Dr. Avrasen, is it important right now to not be stuck into politics at the state level in order to blame the Mamata Banerjee government? Because yes, I accept there are 101 lapses of the state administration at this point. But as we have seen in these protests across the country, there's also perhaps a gap which exists in the form of a systemic legislation to protect these doctors. Otherwise, doctors in Patna, doctors in Lucknow, doctors in Chandigarh would not be hitting the streets over something which has happened in Kolkata. Are we looking at a danger of localizing this issue and trying to deflect attention from a larger pan-India problem?
If there's a larger issue and the doctors have certain demands, I'm sure that the central government would look into the matter with utmost sensitivity. But coming back to the context of this rape and murder, I'd like to put forward certain facts. I won't politicize it. I am again saying this. As per the PM report, we are coming to know from sources that in the endocervical canal of the victim girl, 151 grams of whitish fluid was found. 151 grams. Now, please take into context one thing, that one person cannot have that much semen in one ejaculation. It was a gang rape. It is proven beyond doubt. But what is the action of the police? What has been the action of the police? Kindly take into consideration that thing as well. After this girl was found violated and dead inside RG campus, then the police as well as the hospital administration had contacted her parents saying that she had committed suicide. Now, please understand, she was found in a half-naked situation, dead with multiple severe injuries on her body. Still, the police and the administration of the medical college told that she had committed suicide. Then, when her body was sent for cremation. Police was proactive in sending its personnel with tear gas cells. Now, can you understand the insensitive nature of the police and the administration in Kolkata and the state of West Bengal? You know what happened? After this girl was cremated, the initial postmortem findings had said categorically that there were at least 2 semen samples in the dead body.
No,
Then,
Dr. Avra Sen,
all of a
I'll
sudden,
just have to come in here at this point because as a responsible broadcaster, we cannot allow information which we have not independently verified. And again, as a point, unfortunately,
okay,
Dr. Sen, you've
I'm
done
saying
exactly
this.
what I'd asked
Please
you as a question
let me
as should we
speak.
not be doing it. This was not a
Let me
platform for
speak. This is
TMC
already
versus
out in the
BJP. We
media.
did send out a request to the TMC. They did not join it for various reasons. But the point still remains that
Let me speak, please.
till the police confirms, for better or for worse, we should not come up with statements as to whether there were 2 men involved, whether there was gang rape or not. There were a lot of lapses, but then that needs to be probed in order, instead of just coming up with allegations, which unfortunately right now we cannot substantiate. But be that as it may, thank you so much, Dr. Avra Sen, Dr. Avira Mathur, and also Dr. Sanjeev Bagai for joining us. We are moving on to